So today I felt like making ciabatta bread, so hopefully you guys also have the same love for bread that I do. Stuff's delicious. Good hard crust, good soft inside, and let's get to it. And you go through a list of stuff you're gonna need. A couple measuring cups, teaspoon, big bowl, spatula. I use a big pan for water. We're gonna need some cooling racks, and then some just tiny bowls. Could use a little sifter for the flour, or if you prefer, you could have one of the big grandma flour sifter things. I don't know exactly what these are called, but they're very fun to spin. And a fork to stir. Don't forget your thermometer. I'll just throw up a list of all the stuff I used here, just in case. It'll also all be down in the description in case you guys need to look at this recipe later. You go with our white flour, wheat flour, yeast, salt, and I'm just going with an everything bagel seasoning. You could go with whatever seasoning you'd like. You can throw kind of whatever you want in this. That's why this recipe is such a great recipe. Again, I'm just going to throw up a list of all the stuff that we have, so... Now right away, you're going to want to make sure that this is hot water that you're using, and then you just pour your yeast right in. Fork's just going to be good to give it a good stir. You could use your finger too, but that just, it sticks to your finger like hell. And set that aside. I'm just going to sift all of our flour together, the wheat and the white. Might as well do them both at the same time since I can. It don't got to be perfect. And throw our salt on top, your seasoning on top. And now that water's set aside, should be little bubbles. Just pour that right on in, right around everything. You're just going to use your spatula, round it out a bit until you get a nice little ball. Again, this is a very rustic recipe. It doesn't got to be perfect. And once you get a little ball, I'm just going to oil up a different bowl here. A nice clean bowl. Make sure you get all the sides around it. Take your little ball with some wet hands and make sure you just round it out. Get a nice smooth top to it. Just gonna plop that puppy in there. Yeah, it should look something like this. Then we're just gonna plastic wrap it. Just gonna let it sit for an hour here. Then after that, you're just gonna want to round it out. You can either just fold it and round it. You just poke it a couple times with your fingers. Whatever you want to do, make sure you're using wet hands. You just want to do it the one time, but then here you see I'm doing it 3 times, because after you do it that first time, you want to wait half hour in between each time, but you're going to do it 3 more times total. Just plastic wrap them and leave them there. Now that pan from earlier, you're going to want to put some warm water in it and pop that in your oven. Have that preheated to 420 degrees. And no, you don't need the baking stones, but I'll go over that here in a second. Now that those have been sitting there and I did the fold to 3 extra times, we're going to get some parchment here. I'm just making this bread here for me and my wife for dinner, so I'm going to just cut this bread in half and round out each half. Just plop them right onto the parchment. Again, make sure you're using wet hands. Just going to throw a little bit of extra bagel seasoning on top. I'm lucky enough to have a pizza peel, so I'm just going to put that parchment right on there. Now with those baking stones, I'm just going to put the whole thing right on the bigger baking stone. And make sure it's above the water. And yes, I'm wearing athletic shorts. Typically, for what I'm doing, it's just going to take 20 minutes in the oven. However, if you don't have the pizza peel or if you don't have the baking stones, then I suggest you put it onto just a regular sheet pan. Give it a little bit of a spray just so the dough doesn't stick too bad. And instead of 20 minutes, you're going to need 25 minutes for this. So, now that for me it's been the 20 minutes, otherwise for you with your sheet pan, it's been 25 minutes. Going to pull them puppies right out. That water should have given it a nice good crust on the outside. Here's where our cooling rack's going to come in. Just going to put both of your loaves right onto the cooling rack as soon as you can. No, I just couldn't wait, and I had to cut into this right away just to get a good look at it. Shouldn't be any really big holes in the bread, just a bunch of little tiny pockets. The hard, crusty outside. Good for just any typical roll you do. And here I just cut it up into more manageably sized pieces, just something you could pop in your mouth a bit easier. Like I said, I just did this for me and my wife for supper, so let me know if you guys tried this recipe. Again, everything will also be down in the description below. You leave your suggestions for what else I should be making down below as well. We have had a suggestion for banana bread, so I'll get to that one of these days, but I was already working on this ciabatta video, so I apologize. I'm going to delay that a little. But we will see you in the next one, whenever that is. Deuces.